edition of one of my favorite things that I like to do once a year, and that of course is my 4th episode series in the Gnome's Guide. I have to admit it was a little bit challenging trying to figure out what kind of a topic I was going to discuss this year, because there are so many things to discuss, you know? But after the one that I did last year, I was really curious to see if there was anything that I was going to do to top it. So of course, what did I do? The best thing that I possibly could. I scoured the YouTube world, and I tried to see what lots of people seemed to really be frustrated about. And then it hit me. A lot of people are struggling with one particular thing, and that is finding a balance. It doesn't necessarily have to be about YouTube fitting into your daily life, although YouTube will definitely be something that we will discuss in this series. But I feel that in order to find a balance in regards to having YouTube as a part of your daily life, you also have to put everything else into a nice, perfect balance. So we're going to begin today with the first of 4 segments, and the first part is going to be a simple title: Where to Begin. Comes to ourselves as individuals, we love doing things. We love doing things by ourselves, we like doing things with people. And when it comes to the wonder that is social media, we now like to do things where we actually are by ourselves, but we are engaging with a whole bunch of people that we, at that point in time, probably have never met. But how do we do it? How do we make sure that all of our priorities are all in perspective, and we are able to accomplish all of our real world and our personal goals without making ourselves crash and burn? So the first thing that I will always suggest is you gotta get a pad of paper and a pen. And what do you do with those tools? You write a list. And I know that there are a lot of people who like to do things on the fly, but believe me, I've learned that being as anal as I am, it is so advantageous because you just have a better understanding when you write things down. So get a piece of paper, get a pad of paper, and get as many pens as you feel necessary. And put 2 lists together on 1 sheet of paper. They are going to be your want-tos and your have-tos. Basically, you have to put on 1 list all the things that you know you have to do. Get yourself up in the morning and go to work. Make sure that you actually feed yourself. Exercise if that's something that's very important in your routine. If you're a student, make sure that your assignments and all of your work are taken care of. If you have a full-time job or even a part-time job, make sure that you have enough time to get to your job. Make sure that you are putting all the effort that you possibly can to make sure that your superiors are happy with the job that you do. And of course, make sure that you get a good night's sleep so you can do it all over again. And sleep is something that we're going to touch upon at another point in time in this video. And then there's that other list. The list of all the things you want to do. Go to movies, go to baseball games or other sporting events, go out and hang out with friends at a bar or a club, or just hang out at somebody's house, spend time with your siblings, spend time with your parents, spend time with your pups or your kitties or whatever animals you got, watch TV, Netflix and chill, play video games, or make YouTube videos. All those things that you want to do. And that also includes your long-term goals, like going on a vacation, going on a weekend getaway with your significant other, or maybe even a very big milestone, like making sure that you go and see your new niece or nephew, or your parents' 40th wedding anniversary. So many other things that I can think about, but these are just some of the things that are coming to the top of my head. And then you gotta figure out, when you take a look at all of those things, how do they all fit into your week and month and year, and even further back, into your average day. There are 24 hours in a day, and you've got to make sure that you know what you are doing in each of those 24 hours. And that leads to number 2, which is a reoccurring theme in all of these guides too. Get yourself a calendar. The calendar is the lifeblood. The calendar is the force that binds the galaxy together. The calendar is the one ring to rule them all. How many more movie references can I possibly give you guys? The point that I'm trying to make is, you have no idea how essential that calendar is. Some of you already do. I see your bullet journal videos. But It's the most essential thing for your daily life because you can be as specific or as general as you want. And that gives you the opportunity to do everything from putting your basics onto calendars, finding out what you specifically want to have in terms of a meal schedule, when you want to make time for your family, when you want to make time for yourself, and making sure that everything that is important, like bills and anything that involves taking care of things like cleaning your house, maintaining your vehicle, all these things are essential, and you gotta put them in that calendar. And you've gotta make sure that they're all perfectly spanned out and paced. You have to make sure that you have the time for everything. If you want to make sure that you get to work on time, but you're a very heavy sleeper, set your alarm for an hour earlier than most people. So, like, here's a perfect example. I know that I want to get to work at 8:15 in the morning. My wife gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning because she has a whole bunch of things to do, and she has to get to her place of work at 7:30. But then there are these days where she doesn't actually drive me to work, and I have to get things done on my own. I actually try to make sure that I get there earlier. I could easily get up at 5:45 in the morning, get into my car, drive to the local bus stop in about 10 minutes and catch a bus and get to the office at 8:30. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to make myself run ragged. I want to make sure that I get there and I have time to spare. So I get up at 5 o'clock and I do all my stuff. I even put my clothes out for the next day. I make sure that my lunch is already packed and ready to go. So I need no less than 15 minutes to get everything done and get out of the house. It's as simple as that. And another important thing that you have to make sure of is you've got so many things that you want to do. So many things that you have planned for yourself and other people around you. But also understand that there's no reason why you can't make a sacrifice. If there's something that you know is important, but it's not necessarily something that is as important as something else. Like, here's a perfect example. You know that you have to get your bathroom cleaned. Now, unless there is a small colony living in your bathtub, that's not necessarily something that you have to do. If you find out that you get a call and your mother needs you to drive her to a very important place because her car is in the shop and nobody else is around to do it. If you're the closest one to her and you have the ability to do that, the bathroom can wait. You gotta get that done. And the same goes with YouTube videos. I always say this to people, and a lot of people actually get it. YouTube is not necessarily something that your world revolves around. Yes, it's a wonderful thing. You get to engage with people and you get to talk about things you love to talk about. But that should be the least of your issues. And if you have a whole bunch of ideas and you have a whole bunch of videos planned and you're ready to record them, and then all of a sudden you find out that your sink is busted, put down the camera! Go fix that sink. Go call a plumber. Go call a friend that knows how to fix those things. You see what I'm trying to say? There's nothing wrong with putting something off that can be put off. It's always horrible when you realize you have to put it off, but when you understand the whole perspective, if you don't get that more important thing done, it's going to really hurt you in the long run. And that pretty much is where I will leave off today. It's just a little bit of a food for thought. It's a great place to get started. I'd love to see you leave your comments in the box below. I'd love to have a great conversation with you guys. You're also welcome to check me out on Twitter. My door is always open for a direct message, and I'm looking forward to continuing with part 2. I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.